It's 10 o'clock and it's time for the council to be in session. Ms. Misakowski is here. We have 2 members present. We need 8 more for a quorum. It's 15 minutes after 10, and we have Mr. Alatorre, Mrs. Chick, Mr. Fuhrer, Ms. Misakowski, Mr. Ridley Thomas, Mr. Wax, Mrs. Walters. We have 8 members present. We need 2 for a quorum. Sergeant, would you see if you can find 2 members? No, we gotta wait. Call the roll.
Alatorre, Brinson, Chick, Fuhrer, Lander, Savorni, Wax, Walters, Ferraro. 11 council members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, this is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the 5th day of January, 1999. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35. We're also being monitored by council phone. The first order of business.
Salute to the flag and the invocation.
Okay, would everyone please stand, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag, which is customary on the first meeting of every month. And after, if you remain standing, we have the honor of having Reverend Monsignor Emmanuel Manahan, San Baptist de Sal Church in Granada Hills, representing the Los Angeles Interfaith Committee and the Catholic community of Los Angeles. Mr. Hernandez, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, Mr. President. Right hand over hearts. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Monsignor Manahan.
God is love. In the desire to make us share in this love, He sent His Son into the world to come to our aid in gentle kindness to help those who are our brothers and sisters. In His great love for all of us, Christ said that whatever we do for the least among us, we do for Him. He called those who show mercy blessed of His Father and promised them eternal life. Let us then pray for the Lord's richest blessings on the City Council members who are devoted to helping their brothers and sisters. And I'd like to use the prayer used before every session of the Second Vatican Council. We stand before you, Holy Spirit, conscious of our sinfulness, but aware that we gather in your name. Come to us, remain with us, and enlighten our hearts. Give us light and strength to know your will, to make it our own, and to live it in our lives. Guide us by your wisdom. Support us by your power, for you are God, sharing the glory of Father and Son. You desire justice for all. Enable us to uphold the rights of others. Do not allow us to be misled by ignorance or corrupted by fear or favor. Unite us to yourself in the bond of love and keep us faithful to all that is true. As we gather in your name, may we temper justice with love, so that all our decisions may be pleasing to you and earn the reward promised to the good and faithful servants. You live and reign with the Father and the Son, one God, forever and ever. Amen.
Members of the council, I hope that we all, one of the New Year's resolutions was that we would be here on time. And Nate Holden not speak as much as Leonard Shapiro. Okay, the first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
All right, Mr. Wax moves, Mrs. Walters seconds. There's no objection, unanimous vote. Next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
There's no objection, unanimous vote. Next item.
On today's agenda, Mr. President, there's a few items that are to be continued. First of
Yes.
these, you have items 6 and 7 are hearing items. They're both on in Council District 5. There's been a request by the applicant to continue both of those hearing items to February 26th. I need a motion from the floor.
If there's no objection, that will be the order on 6 and 7.
Item 8, there's a request to continue that hearing item to February the 10th.
There's no objection, that will be the order.
Item 17, Councilmember Fuhr would like that continued one day to tomorrow, January the 6th.
There's no objection, that will be the order.
Item 30, there's been a request by Councilmember Ridley Thomas and the Police Commission to continue that to January the 12th, 1 week from today.
There's no objection, that will be the order.
39R, it's a Rule 16 motion, Ridley Thomas. He's asked that be continued to Friday, January the 8th.
If there's no objection, unanimous vote. 39R.
The closed session scheduled for today, 61, that's to be continued to next Wednesday, January the 13th.
There's no objection, that will be the order. Okay.
56, Councilmember Galanter would like that continued to the 19th of January, 2 weeks from today.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote.
That leaves you with the remaining hearing items, Mr. President, 1 and 2. This is the first of 2 hearings scheduled for today. The second hearing is scheduled for January the 12th.
All right,
Items 1 and 2.
Is there anybody here that wants to be heard on item 1 and 2? These are lighting districts. Have no cards. So we will continue this to the second hearing, which will be January 12th. If there's no objections, that will be the order. Next item.
Mr. President, I've just been advised, item 52, that's to be continued 1 week to January the 12th. Councilman Hernandez.
There's no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
And item number 57, Councilmember Ridley Thomas would like that continued 1 week as well, 57. So 52 and 57 continue 1 week.
If there's no objections, that will be the order. Next item.
Item 3 on today's agenda, this is a continued hearing, Chandler Boulevard and Vantage Avenue Lighting District.
Is there anybody in the audience who wants to be heard on item 3? We do not have cards. Anyone want to be heard on 3? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Is there any discussion on this item?
I need a motion from the floor to deny the protest, confirm the assessments, and adopt the final ordinance levying the assessments.
Mr. Fuhr moves. You heard the motion. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item 4 is a continued hearing, protest Beverly Grove Place and Beverly Grove Lighting District, also San Rafael Avenue, Mount Washington Lighting District.
Is there anybody in the audience who wants to be heard on item number 4? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion on this item? We need a motion.
Yes, you need a motion to deny protest, confirm the assessments, and adopt the final ordinance.
Mr. Fuhr moves. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. That includes the ordinances. Next item.
Mr. President, I've just been advised on item 57 that Councilman Ridley Thomas had asked for continuance. He wanted to continue 51, not 57, so could you reconsider that? Leave 57 on the desk and...
Mr.
He wants to
Ridley Thomas
continue.
moves reconsideration of 57.
57,
and
yes.
There's no objection.
Hold that on the
So the matter is
desk.
back before us.
And
51
continue 51 for 1 week.
51 is to be continued 1 week. Okay, there's no objection. That will be the order. Next item.
All right. Item 5, required hearing.
Sergeant, could we have a little quiet in the council chamber, please?
You have several lighting districts, Mr. President. A, which is the Culver Boulevard one, you can deny the protest and confirm the assessments on that one. However, there was majority protest received on the remaining 3 districts, which is Hazelton Avenue and the 2 others listed on your agenda, so you'd need a different motion for that. So take up A and B separately. A would be first.
Okay. Is there anybody who wants to be heard on item number 5, first of all? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. And we have item number A before us. 5.
Deny protest, confirm assessments, and adopt the final ordinance.
Okay, Mr. Fuhr moves. Prepare the roll on that portion. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved.
Now on B, Hazelton, you have to make a finding of majority protest were received and adopt the ordinance abandoning the projects for those 3 lighting districts.
Okay, Mr. Fuhr moves. Is there any discussion on that? If not, prepare the roll to deny. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next.
Item 9, this is the required hearing on the comments relative to the special assessments for the Wilshire Center Business Improvement District.
Is there anybody want to be heard on item number 9? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion on 9?
You need to adopt the motion levying the assessments and close the hearing.
All right, Mr. Holden moves. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Items 10 through 29 are items for which public hearings have been held. Please note that there's a general exemption on the ordinance on item 15. And you've already continued item 17 in that group of items.
Wait, 10 through 29, we have,
I want to ask that 26 be continued for 2 weeks.
Mr. Burnson calls 25 special. Ms. Glanner wants 26 to be continued 2 weeks. Is there any objections to that?
I just talked to Jack. He doesn't have a problem with it.
Seeing none, that will be the order.
Thank you.
7, 11, 13, and 16. Mr. Savornich called 10. Is there anything left? Okay, let's,
The items you have left would be 12, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 27, 28, 29.
that's it.
15 special?
15 is called special. They go all the way to 29? Okay, prepare the roll. The motion is needed on some of those, so Mr. Hernandez moves. Prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 eyes.
Those are approved. Next item.
Items 30 through 60 are items of which public hearings have not been held, with the exception of those that you've already continued, which was 30 and 39R.
We have, somebody wants to be heard on 40, 44, 54, all right, anybody want to be heard on any of the other items? that are-
39R was continued to Friday, the 8th.
Yep, Mr. President, what's the status of item 44?
It's before us.
44, there's a request to refer to Community and Economic Development, Hernandez.
Okay, could we, instead of referring it to committee, continue it one day?
44? Item 44? There's no objection, item 44 is continued one day. Okay, we have, anybody want to be heard on any of the items, those that I called? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Okay, what specials do we have by council members? What specials?
39N, the Ridley Thomas motion on the Grammys is called special.
39M? Any
40 and 41, Walters.
Huh? Mrs. Walters calls 40 and 41? Okay, any others? If not, prepare the roll on the balance. Tabulate the vote.
13 eyes.
Those are approved. And where there's a motion needed, Mr. Alatorre so moves. Forthwith on 58. Okay, the next item.
10 special, Councilmember Savornich.
All right. Mr. Savornich, you called 10 special? Huh? Okay, all right, prepare the roll on 10. Tabulate the vote.
13 eyes.
That is approved. Next item.
11 special.
Mr. Holden, you called 11 special?
Yeah, Mr. President, I think this is one that should be explained, notwithstanding the fact that we've been off a couple of weeks and I have not seen the report, but I'm sure it's around now. Explain why we're passing this through. I think an explanation is necessary.
Is there somebody here on item number 11, the rent stabilization ordinance?
Mr. Wax? It's okay?
Is there somebody here on that item? Yeah, well, we've had a public hearing already on that, Mr.
You have?
Greenberg,
When was that?
in committee. You know about
All right.
committees, don't you, Nate? Are you with the department? Okay. Would you explain this to the council?
This,
Give your name and speak into the microphone.
My name is Anna Ortega with the Housing Department in the Rent Stabilization Program. These ordinance changes change the pass-through provisions of the Rent Stabilization Ordinance to make them more like the capital improvement provisions that were changed in 1989. Basically, the ordinance changes would make pass-throughs for rehabilitation work.
Sergeant, could we have some quiet in the council chamber, please?
Would make these kinds of pass-throughs temporary pass-throughs which terminate once the work is paid for. At the present time, they're permanent increases which go on indefinitely. It would also make them surcharges which are not part of the maximum adjusted rent and are not included in the calculation of the annual allowable rent increase. It would also cap them at $75 per month or 10% of the rent for the unit, whichever is less. It also provides that when there's a loan made with public funds, which allows deferment of repayment, then the pass-through to the tenants should also be deferred, and that the increase should be amortized over the life of the loan and be on the principal only. These changes were worked with for some time and recommended by the Rent Adjustment Commission and the Housing Committee as well as the department.
Okay. Mr. Holden?
Yeah, Mr. President, who keeps the books on this? You? Does that, the whole contract is reported to the Rent Stabilization Board, and they keep a record when the landlord goes in and says, we spent X number of dollars to repair, we're going to pass this through, and with the number of tenants that we have, it'll take a certain number of time, in months, years, to recover. What do we do there?
Yes, Housing Department staff reviews and processes these applications. Landlords apply to us after they've completed the work and provide us with documentation about how much it cost, and we calculate the allowable rent increase and the duration of the rent increase based on the ordinance and the regulations of the Rent Adjustment Commission.
Okay. $75 per month for seniors on a fixed income. Could this virtually force them out of the unit sometime? Do you have any consideration on that?
The ordinance as written allows for $75 a month or 10% of the rent for the unit, whichever is less.
Whichever is less.
Yes. So their rental level would have to be greater than $750 to get the maximum rent increase.
Right. But, you know, these seniors get like 4% on their Social Security per year, a 2% increase, a 1% increase. And this is going to come from bread and butter. It's going to come from food, and it's going to come from other necessities that they have. Of course, you understand that. Do you?
Well, I understand that everyone has a budget.
How are they paying for it now? When they make these repairs on their properties, there's no pass-through, is that correct?
No.
And the hardship is being imposed on the landlord, is that what you're saying?
No, that isn't quite the case. At the present, the ordinance amendments being adopted are much more favorable to tenants and make it easier for them under the present ordinance, which needs to be changed. Rent increases of any amount, $300-400, can be passed through on a permanent basis. So this corrects that.
So this is what you guys agree on, both the landlords and the tenants, and you, your organization?
You can pretty much say that. We've had...
All right, okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. President. Mr. Vornich?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. To staff, I have before us the committee report. And on page 2 of the committee report, under the summary, it said that this ordinance was to provide for the payment of interest on security deposits to the tenant annually, either as a direct payment or a reduction in the last month's rent, and provide that interest rates be revised annually to correspond to the annual allowable rent increase. So the question that I have is the amount of interest that the landlord is going to have to pay on the interest deposit, does that correspond to the amount of interest that the landlord is receiving from the bank on that money, or a higher amount? Or could it be a higher amount? Because I think it would probably be unfair to have someone to pay interest on this money higher than the interest to which that money is collecting.
Presently, the amount required is 5%, which is higher than what can usually be collected, let's say, in a passbook savings account. The tying it to the CPI more closely brings it to what might be available in savings account.
Okay. I have some problems with that at this time. And, Mr. President, I'm going to ask that that portion go back to committee for further review. And then also, on page 3 of the committee report, in regards to the pass-throughs, what we are asking today is allowing 100% pass-throughs for rehabilitation work for owners who secured disaster insurance, but limit such pass-throughs to 50% for owners who did not purchase disaster insurance. Could I hear a little bit of the rationale, since there's been some time since we considered this, over why 100% for people who took out disaster insurance versus 50% for people who didn't?
That part is still under review and is to go back to the Housing Committee.
Okay, so this is going to go back then, too? This is not part of what's before us today?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So, Mr. President, the only thing I would ask is that the Housing Committee will take under submission the 100% versus the 50% pass-throughs, depending on whether or not an individual took out disaster insurance or not. And I would like to have to go back to committee the provision in regards to the security deposits on what actual interest will be paid. That you can go ahead on, that the bank will pay you on that account versus a CPI or something else. Besides that, I think everything else can go forward.
Any objection to referring those back to committee?
So you
That
wouldn't
those
act on
portions-
ordinance B relative to the security deposits, refer back to committee?
Please.
All right.
Okay. Mrs. Chick, did you want to be heard on this?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that my colleagues understood the very positive aspects of this. I have always looked at this, and this is a result of a motion I introduced a really depressingly long time ago, that it has taken this long to come back to us. But I'm pleased with this step. I'm not sure we're totally done yet. But what we had done with all good intentions, and based on some sound reasoning in terms of giving incentive to property owners to rehabilitate their properties, we had forgotten about the tenants from the point of view that, yes, the rehabilitation of buildings should be fully paid for, and charging over a period of years a reasonable amount to tenants to be reimbursed makes sense. What didn't make sense was to charge tenants ad infinitum into the future forever and ever, and keep that surcharge on way beyond the full reimbursement costs were recuperated. This corrects that piece of it and leaves the incentive to property owners to rehabilitate their property still intact. So I'm pleased to move forward with this finally today. Thank you.
Okay. I wanted to ask a question. Does the department have the ability to write to tenants and say that your rent has been reduced 50%? No, reduced.
Well, this doesn't do that, but
I know, but this,
if there are reductions in services, tenants can file complaints about that get investigated, and
and the department can then reduce the rent?
we work with the landlord to arrive at a reasonable reduction for whatever, it depends on what the reduction is.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Burnson?
I have a couple of questions. I introduced a motion about a year ago, I guess, pretty close to it, that dealt with not just emergency repairs, but dealt with general pass-throughs as well. Now, the problem is that the pass-through continues after the project is, or the repairs or whatever it is, are paid off. And my motion was to stop the pass-through cost after the retirement of the debt. What's the status of that? Do you know?
The Mobile Home Park Task Force and the Capital Improvement Task Force continue to meet to talk about those issues. Basically, that law, as you may remember, was made in 1989. So the problem that exists is with those rent increases that were increased under the old rules prior to 1989. And there are legal questions that we're trying to resolve about whether the city can retroactively take away a
But
rent
in the
increase.
meantime, they're continuing to charge these people for projects that have been long since paid for. Why can't we go ahead and bring that ordinance to the council and get that at least proactively, if nothing else?
Proactively, it was already adopted.
Well, anything that's been paid for already should not have to pay any further. The only legality would be whether there would be a question of recovery on the part of the tenants that have paid for something that was already paid for. Why can't we get that to the council? Is there some reason?
We've had a great deal of testimony before the Rent Adjustment Commission expressing the position that the city would be taking away a right that
The
landlords have.
city is not taking away any right. The landlords do not have a right to take money for people for something that's already paid for. I don't understand that kind of thinking. Can you explain that to me, or give me some, or give the council members some rationale for telling us that some senior or some other person who has already paid for their share of an improvement to the property has to continue to pay for it forever? Is there any rationale for that? I don't know of any. Do any of the council members know of any reason for that? I don't. I don't understand why it's taking so long to get a simple ordinance like this amended to protect these people.
Landlords who got these rent increases granted in the past followed the rules that were there in place at the time, and those rules provided that they were permanent rent increases. Now the city would be undoing that.
Where in that ordinance did they say they were permanent?
It does say that in the ordinance.
In the ordinance it
Yeah.
did, and we voted for it? Well, shame on us, members of the council, because we should have been looking a little closer when we did it. But now that that's done, we need to change that. And what I'm going to ask is that that ordinance be brought before the council, and I'd like to ask that we could have that here in either a draft ordinance form or an ordinance form within the next 2 weeks. Can we do that? The task force has had it long enough, remember, I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
The task force has had it long enough. Would it be appropriate, let me ask the city attorney, is it appropriate for me to make it?
It's not on the agenda.
But it relates to the same subject, Mr. President, because
I don't
these
know if it does or
things
not.
should have come together,
Does the
actually.
city attorney, does it relate to the same subject?
I don't want to amend the ordinance. What I want to do is ask that the motion which the council passed and sent on to the task force a year ago be brought back before this council for action. That's what I want to ask for. Do I need a motion for that, or?
Mr. Burnson, if the task force gives it to the city clerk's office, we can schedule it. The housing department staff's
Okay,
been
well,
instructed by you.
I would move that we schedule that before the city council 2 weeks from today.
Okay, there's no objections, that will be the order. Mr. Alatorre?
You know, I don't have a problem with what is being said. I'm more interested in the perception of us doing something which basically allowed the owners to carry it on, whatever that the increase was, in perpetuity. What happens in terms of the balance if we decide to take it back? Now, does that, and maybe the city attorney best, does that put us in jeopardy in terms of the action that we initially took, and we reached a delicate balance, and now we're undoing it? I don't care. I mean, I think that, I don't think it should have been done to begin with, but I'm somewhat interested in what exposure we put ourselves in. That's all. Maybe somebody can answer.
Can you,
That's, I guess everybody wants to answer it now.
can you answer that?
Yeah, but you know, it's just make sure that we
Claudia?
just not throw a chicken Moses. Here, Helen, what you say?
Claudia McGee Henry, Senior Assistant City Attorney. The issue, as you've outlined, it does raise significant constitutional issues. We have provided a legal memorandum to the department outlining what the legal issues are, outlining the kinds of findings that they should be prepared to address in connection with the ordinance. at the time the matter is considered by the council or council committee, that legal memorandum can be before you. You can look at the legal issues as we outlined it. The department can present the facts, and the council then can make a judgment as to whether...
Well, could you just
Facts are there.
very briefly tell me what, in your legal opinion, is of an action, if we were to take it, what are the problems that are created and what exposure is created by that?
Well, the basic problem is a question of retroactivity, the extent to which property owners reasonably relied on the decisions that the council or
Right.
the city departments made. And in granting rent increases in the past, administratively, the council or the city department made the representation to the property owner, here's a rent increase, you may continue it without limit. Now the city would be coming forward and saying, we're going to change the rules.
We changed our mind.
That raises legal issues. It's not to say that the city can't do it,
I
but it
understand.
does raise legal issues of some magnitude.
We have done a lot of things that later on we get sued for, and we end up having to pay for the brilliant, sometimes, ideas that we have come up with. And all I'm saying is, you know, let us do something with our eyes open. I think it's properly we should be separated. I think we should move forward with this issue. But I think that we have to be mindful that there are consequences and what those consequences are.
All right, thank you. Mr. Holden? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Sikowski. Didn't you push? Okay, go ahead. Mr. Holden.
It's just really
Mr.
simple.
Hernandez, I'm sorry.
If we modify the law according to Mr. Burnson's suggestion, we can do that. Long as for the future projects, we can't make it retroactive. What has been done is passed forward, that's forward, and that's defensible. You know, I'm a real cheap lawyer, and it's going to work. Thank you. I try to tell you that. You worked on it. You know that you can't make it retroactive. We've done a lot of. All right, of course. We're not going to do that one. Thank you. I'm ready to vote, Mr. President.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, I think, wants to be heard.
I just want to make sure, so where we're at, everything's intact except the question of how you calculate the interest on the deposit. That's going back to Mr. Savornich for review. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And Mr. Burnson's action is not before us today, but rather it's something that would come in the future. Okay, thank you.
Okay, prepare the roll.
Item 11 as amended.
As amended. Tabulate the vote.
13 eyes.
That is approved. Forthwith on 53, please. Okay. And forthwith on item 11. Next item. Joel?
Item 13 special.
Mr. Holden, you call 13 special?
Staff isn't here yet, Mr. President. They've
Let's
asked that
put it
it
on
be
the table,
held.
Mr. President.
Okay.
15 special. Councilmember Hernandez.
Mr. Hernandez, you call 15.
Yes, I just wanted, is staff present in regards to this brush clearance?
Would the
issue?
staff come to the center table, please?
I can appreciate the tool that we have, we're proposing in regards to this ordinance for anybody who's negligent in regards to the current brush clearance being held liable for the total cost of basically dealing with that fire and being able to use that as a tool. Where I was expressing concern is I noticed that the city's exempted from that liability, and I didn't know what that meant. So, for example, in my district, I have canyons. I have Debs Park, where we had an arsonist who continued to basically, on an ongoing basis, create fires. And if one of those fires happened in an area where we hadn't done our job of clearing the brush, and it impacted homes, can that homeowner sue the city?
Al Hernandez, the fire department. I think the same liability would extend as it does right now. That is, if a fire starts on city property, irrespective of whether we're in compliance or not, and spreads to a private property, the city would be subject to some litigation. I think the city attorney would probably be best to answer that.
Okay, well, and let me complicate a little bit more, because if the city attorneys can give the answers, I need the perspective. In Mount Washington, I have like Rainbow Canyon, Alira Canyon, that are currently being, the owners of a park there is the Santa Monica Conservancy. And we, for example, back in the 70s, had a real serious fire that started in Rainbow Canyon. Now, when I'm asking the questions, because here we're trying to hold homeowners liable if they don't do their share. But we basically exempt the city from that same liability in the proposed ordinance. I want to know what happens when you have another public entity, or what happens when it's a city that is found at fault for the lack of the clearance.
Well, this particular ordinance just deals with allowing the city to recover costs, to offset, recover from property owners some of the costs that it's incurred in connection with fires on properties that are out of compliance with our brush clearing ordinance. And when it's city property involved, the city has already incurred the cost, and the city can't recover monies back from the city. So it doesn't really...
What is the Santa Monica Conservancy?
The Conservancy is a state public body represented by the State Attorney General. The State Attorney General has taken the position in the past that the Conservancy is not subject to the city's ordinances. Therefore, this particular ordinance that's before you would probably be of limited utility in dealing with a fire that arose on a property of that state agency.
What if it's Caltrans? Is that
That's
the
a state
same?
agency. The same issue would arise.
Okay. Is there anyone else wishing to speak, members of council? If not, open the roll. Close the roll.
13 ayes.
That matter is approved. Next order, Madam Clerk.
Is staff here yet on item 13?
Is the staff present on item 13? Can we have a little quiet over there? It's really impossible for people to hear. Staff, come to the center table, please. Hi. Morning. Happy. For the record, would you identify yourself?
My name is James Okazaki. I'm the Assistant General Manager for the Department of Transportation.
Don Harrahill, Senior Personnel Analyst, Department of Transportation.
Just tell us about this taxi cab administrator and what they'll be doing, supervising 15 people, you know.
Certainly. As you know, Councilman Holden, over the last several years, we've had several items that has come to the attention of the City Council dealing with administration of the taxi industry, the bankruptcies and how some of the companies were being managed. And the City Council directed the department to develop a new organization just to deal with the issues related to the taxi industry. The ordinance was passed that recommended the new board of 5 members representing the industry as well as the people that are users of the taxi service, namely the seniors, people with disability, the airport users, the visitors, the people that go to the conventions, and some people that have understanding about putting together businesses such as the taxi business. And as part of that formula of the council wishing to have a different organization overseeing the taxi industry, there was a concern and a desire to have an administrator in charge of the taxi organization, the staffing that deals with taxis, somebody that would have, I guess, the skill set of that of a business person, rather than, an engineer who's knowledgeable about putting together buildings and signals, but the feeling was, as we talked to personnel and stuff, that we needed a different skill set, and that this skill set could be best met by having an administrator of more of a non-engineering type, but more of an administrative position. And we had the personnel department, I think, research this position, and they recommended someone, I guess, a non-engineer type, and I could have Don give you more explanation on the kind of person they were looking for as we explore this particular position.
The position itself would require someone obviously with supervisory and management skills and abilities as one component, but that's not the only component. Very important is the knowledge of the taxi cab industry and understanding of it, as well as an understanding of the enforcement requirements and responsibilities of a governmental agency as it pertains to taxi cab administration.
You know, we only have one person right now that works in the Department of Transportation that deals on a day-to-day basis with a taxi. He's a senior transportation engineer. When you look across the region, there might be another one person in another city. You go to another state, you might see a few. So it's not a dime a dozen type of a person. It's really a specialty. And in order to get the best qualified people for such a large organization as the Department of Transportation, City of LA, managing a large fleet of taxis, we felt that we needed to have an exempt position that we could open this up to regional and maybe outside the state for a qualified person in this position.
Mr. Holden?
Yeah, Mr. President, fine, I'll commend you for your effort. But the kind of person I think you want to also look at, the one who's ethical, not corruptible. This is the worst industry that's doing business with the city of Los Angeles, in my view, and you know my reason for saying that. You have United Taxi and, you know, East versus West, and the department staff was choosing sides, and in doing so, you squeeze one other company out, and you at the expense of the other. It just was not working right. That's why you had the lawsuits, anything but yellow lawsuits, and the list goes on. The department was not causing the taxi companies that had franchises to really stick close to the franchises. They were selling certificates of operations, and you know that, and you know what the problems are. The thing that troubled me is the fact that the department closed its eyes to those problems, did not address them, and they let those taxi companies go loose. Now, if this is going to work, fine. I'm willing to try it, willing to support it, even with 15 additional people that will be working with this individual. Is that correct?
This is not additional people. What's happening is that the existing franchise responsibilities who regulates not just the taxi industry, but regulates the pipelines, the railroad crossings, and as well as the ambulances and other for-hire vehicles. What the complaint was, we were not on top of the taxi industry, which was very...
Mr. Okazaki, if you got...
We had too many people, we had too many services, 4,000 vehicles, and we only had one guy in charge.
How many people do we have now? How many people?
Right now, we have 29 people, and we're
taxi.
split it in half. They're in charge of 15 people right now. The person is in charge of the taxi and the ambulance, one person. So we're splitting that up to create two positions. One is a taxi administrator, and
Before my time runs out, why don't you come to my office? Let's talk about it, okay? So
Yes,
I
sir.
have a pretty good handle on what you're attempting to do.
But we're not increasing the staff, sir, except for the administrator
That's
position.
okay. If they have a direct responsibility for the taxi cab industry, and that's what their sole job purpose would be,
Yes.
I have no problem with that, because it's needed. All I said, and would suggest again, that the person be ethical, because they will attempt to buy you, because by whatever the subsequent conduct is of that administrator, you can tell by which side they're on, and that's a problem for me.
Thank you.
Mendez?
Members of the council, I don't know if you just heard, but the Department of Transportation just admitted that they had an engineer overseeing the taxi cab franchise operation, and in so many words basically stated that that person is not qualified to do it, and was not. Now, previous to this, the reports we'd heard from the Department of Transportation were that they had everything under control. And it's been the council action, I think, and now working with the mayor's office that's created the separate board. Now, the same department is telling us they need, because of their consultation with the personnel committee, they're telling us they need a different kind of management entity, a different kind of person with different kinds of skills that they've previously applied to this position. But they're also saying that that person is going to be overseeing 15 people who, will they be civil service?
Yes.
15 people who currently have been working the operation. Now, has any of this gone through the personnel committee?
Yes.
And has Personnel Committee looked at the job descriptions of all the 15 people who are going to be transferred over? Or are we just kind of saddling this new manager who we're going to be looking at from the outside with everything that we don't want?
The Personnel Committee and the Personnel Department reviewed the organization as we were splitting it. I do not believe that the Personnel Committee, Ms. Goldberg's committee, specifically looked at all the 15 positions that this exempt person will be reviewing.
So the department is determining what people they'll send over?
It is clear, based on the function that is going on today, as we work with the Personnel Department, how we broke up the responsibility that's currently being handled in the Franchise and Regulations Division to divide up the taxi part of it separate from the ambulances and the buses and the pipelines and the gas lines.
Have we at any time done any kind of analysis? And maybe I need someone from personnel here. I don't know the gentleman next to you, if he's from personnel.
He's with the Department of Transportation.
Okay.
Personnel.
Yeah. You know, I don't know how other cities personnel operate franchises that oversee taxi cab operations, and what kind of job skills are required and what kind of personnel are required. Has the city of LA done that analysis?
Bill Fujioka from Personnel Department. As part of our review, when this request was submitted to our department, we determined that the duties, responsibilities, the scope of the responsibilities was appropriate for a new position of this type. And we support this request from the Department of Transportation.
Right, but that's for the department head, who's going to be overseeing 15 people whose job functions and so forth are currently the same that DOT's doing.
I understand.
And I'm asking, because you're changing the head, has anybody looked at whether the body has to change?
I understand. But another significant issue is, although they're supervising 15, you have to look at the external relationships that this person will be required to maintain and develop, and those relationships with the different regulatory agencies, the taxi cab companies, and so on. So it's both the internal responsibilities, but also the external responsibilities, and the breadth and scope of those responsibilities are a critical factor.
Right, and I'm just asking, again, here we're changing the head, we're not changing the body.
Understand.
And has there been any dialogue at all as to what the body should look like for this head to manage?
We believe.
Go ahead, Jim.
We believe that the body, in essence, works well, although I think there's been a request to increase the size of that body to be more, I guess, proactive in enforcing against illegal activities of the bandits and so forth. However, there's never been a complaint about the body. I think what the complaint was that the leadership of the department needed to get somebody who was more knowledgeable about the business, building of business in the taxi industry, understanding that rather than the engineering and the enforcement part of it. And so our background and training, I think, was not totally in concert with what I think the council was looking for as they formed this organization.
Yeah. Now, in this action, is the job description telling this individual that he'll be overseeing 15 people, or is it going to give the individual the opportunity to restructure his group?
That opportunity is always there within the organization of the Department of Transportation.
Is the job description saying that?
It does not.
I'd like the job description to state that.
That's inherent in any organization to restructure.
I'd like the job description to state that, because that is the area I'll be questioning the potential hiree as to what he believes should be the kind of organization he needs to have to run it.
Personnel has agreed that we would include that.
We would do that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we have item 13 before us.
Mr. Holden just corrected me to say he or she.
Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Mr. Holden, we have a presentation by you. Members of the council, item 40 and 41, we have a request to refer those to Budget and Finance Committee. There's no objections. That will be the order. 40 and 41. Mr. Holden.
Next, Budget and Finance Committee.
Schedule it for the next Budget Finance meeting, and
And
maybe
have it
make
back
it
on
on
the
Wednesday or Thursday.
Having it back in City Council
And I'll
next
tell you
week.
what, it
40
just-
and 41.
Yeah, it's in committee, and we have a distinguished chairman of that committee who will handle it.
And have it back.
We'll work it up with you.
Okay.
Mr. Holden,
Thank you,
where's your American Legion cap?
Where's yours, John?
Where's yours?
It's in my car.
Mr. President, members, we have another distinct honor. We usually do this once a year, and should be every day that we honor our American Legion fighting men and women who have served us in a time of war, and at the same time they come back home and still do their duties for veterans and other people of our respective communities. And it's all volunteer, and they really never stop. These are patriotic citizens. And as you know, Mr. President, just the other day I was in Sacramento when the new governor, Governor Davis, gave his honor and respect to the fighting men and women of members of the American Legion, and the whole audience at the convention center stood up and applauded and acknowledged them for their good work. And we're going to do it here today, Mr. President. We're going to honor the national commander. His name is Harold L. Butch Miller. Mr. Miller was elected National Commander of the American Legion on September 10th, 1998, during the 80th National Convention of the 2.9 million member nation's largest veteran group in New Orleans, Louisiana. Mr. Miller served in the United States Army from that's a good Army, as you were in the Navy. I was in the Army. Yeah, you know, he played with USC too, so don't worry, they're losing. Mr. Miller served in the United States Army from 1966 to 1974, including assignments with the Army Security Agency and the Deputy Chief of Staff for Logistics. Mr. Miller served primarily in the Pacific Theater of Operation, including Vietnam. Mr. Miller is a native of Wabasha, I got it okay? Minnesota. Mr. Miller's father signed him up in the American Legion in Minnesota in 1972. Father like son. His father and mother have been members of the American Legions and the American Legion Auxiliary, respectively, for nearly 50 years. Mr. Miller served more than 20 years in the Department of Veteran Affairs after completing his military service, retiring in 1997 from the VA office of the General Counsel in Washington, D.C. Upon transfer to VA headquarters in the nation's capital in 1978, Mr. Miller became a member of the American Legion Post 364 near his home in Woodbridge, Virginia. Now, Mr. Miller only became past commander in 1988. He was selected Post Commander of the Year in 1989 and awarded his honorary life membership by the Post in 1990. He rose through the ranks of the American Legion, becoming director to the Department of Virginia's American Legion Auxiliary Leadership College in 1988, district commander in 1992, American Legion Department of Virginia Judges Advocate in 1992, Department of Virginia's Commanders 1994. You're really right out there from the bottom up. Chairman of the National Constitution and Bylaws Committee and consultant to the National Legislative Commission. Mr. Miller's son, Craig, is a Marine Corps lieutenant, and it goes on. Mr. Craig Miller, his wife, Jessie, and the couple's 4 children follows in the Miller's family tradition. They are all members of the American Legions and the American Legion Auxiliary, and the son of the American Legion, and sons of the American Legion. It's indeed my pleasure, Mr. President, once again, to introduce to the members of the council and to the people of the city of Los Angeles, they're all watching, the National Commander of the American Legion, Harold L. Butch Miller. It is The new governor gave them a standing ovation, Mr. President, for his job well done over the years. He too served in Vietnam. Let us do that here today. Give them that acknowledgement.
Thank you, Councilman. It is indeed an honor to come here and to be honored in this way. I know you do this annually when the National Commander comes around, but and we appreciate it. But I can assure you that the 140+ thousand Legionnaires in the state of California are out there every day working for you. And I know that there's an awful lot of attention being paid to the accomplishments and the sacrifices of veterans, in some part because of movies like Saving Private Ryan. But I can assure you, ever since that day in Normandy, and for all the days before that, and for all the days to come, just like you, as council people, show a great interest in your community, I can assure you that the American Legion, through its local posts, shares that community spirit. And if there's ever anything that you need us to help you with as veterans of this country and as involved community participating citizens, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Again, it is a great honor to be here, and on behalf of the 2.9 million American Legion members of this organization, I certainly appreciate the honor that you have given our organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commander. I'd just like to take note of the fact that there are those who do not give the military personnel the respect that they deserve, but those people do the things they do because men and women have fought and some have died, that they have a right to do what they do. And I, once again, will stand and acknowledge you.
Thank you, Mr. Holden, and Commander, thank you for gracing our council chamber by being here today. I am a past commander of the American Legion Insurance Post, which I don't know if it's still in existence or not, but I've been very proud of that. Thank you. Okay, the next item.
Item 16, special.
15? 16? Well, we'll hold it for a second. What did we do 15?
We took care of that already. It's 13 ayes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
25, special, Councilmember Burnson.
Mr. Burnson, you called 25 special?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to ask a couple questions. Mainly, I'm totally supportive of the program as far as getting the deadbeat fathers to pay their child support. I just wonder what the city's function is here, and is there going to be a cost to the city in this? Can somebody answer that question for me? First of all, this is totally a county responsibility with the Office of the District Attorney. I just wonder what the ramifications of us supporting this are going to be financially. Has this been to Finance Committee? And if there's going to be any cost?
Personnel Committee report. You're on that committee, I believe, Mr. Holden.
I'm on the Personnel Committee?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about the committee report. I haven't seen it. But I would suggest that we need to get somebody to explain what this means, you know, what this actually means. I would move that we send it to Finance Committee for a report back on cost.
All right, is there any objection to sending 20?
What I'd like to do, if I may, Mr. President, I'd like to move that we support the program in principle, but we defer any sharing of cost till it comes back from the Finance Committee.
Okay. You heard that motion. Is there any discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved.
16 special.
Mr. Holden, you called 16 special?
Mr. President, I think we had to do, this is second reading, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Second
reading because you voted against it last time.
That's right. So I know Mr. Burnson changed his mind on this, and so I'm just going to vote no.
Okay, prepare the roll on 16. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes, 1 no.
That is approved. Forthwith on that item. Next item.
39N, Mr. President. It was called special. You have a substitute motion that's been distributed by Councilmember Ridley Thomas.
Okay, Mr. Ridley Thomas, you want to explain your motion?
Mr. President, it's simply a substitute motion that deals with some of the technical aspects of what needs to be corrected with respect to the Grammy celebration. You'll appreciate that the 41st annual event is happening, or we're glad that it's happening in the City of Los Angeles. It will be at the Shrine Auditorium. The National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences continues to make the kind of commitment to our city of which we can be proud. The good thing to know is that the Science Center will host the Grammy party the night before. So a lot of good things are happening that give definition to the sports, arts, and entertainment corridor, starting here downtown, going south to the University Park, Exposition Park complex. This motion is essentially a step further in that regard to center significant events in those communities. I would urge a unanimous vote.
Okay, Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Mr. President. I call this special council members to point out to you that the approval of this request, as it's stated in the substitute motion, will mean that an estimated $63,000 in fees and salary costs will be absorbed by the city.
Okay, Mr. Alatorre.
Very briefly, Mr. President, I think that Ms. Walters is correct about that, but I think that what we have to look at is the bigger picture and how the city of Los Angeles benefits by having the Grammys here in Southern California, what impact it has on the bed tax that we have, the impact of the sales tax that's spent as a result of the people coming here to enjoy themselves and to go to the Grammys, and I think that far outweighs the initial cost that we were talking about. I think that it's important that we continue to attract venues like this, and I would respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, the Grammys are they still in New York, or were they in New York?
They were in New York.
How long have they been back here? And when did they leave New York? First of the year?
I think this is their first return.
First return. My question was New York continue to support them as well? Because that makes it competitive if they were.
Yeah, Mayor Giuliani called Mr. Ridley Thomas and said that he shouldn't steal this from New York.
Rudy wants to know what Rudy said.
Well, maybe you can just answer my question when he responds, and that is that if New York were competing, there must be a reason why they want to come back here, even at a cost to us. So, and then if there's some trade-off benefits, then I want to listen to that, and I'll hear a response, Mr. President.
Okay, Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Mr. President, it's no secret to anyone that attracting events of this sort is intensely competitive. A lot of energy is put forward to accomplish it. Certainly, incentives are advanced to do so. I would just simply say the substitute motion has one technical difference or change. It is point number 2. It was omitted by those who prepared the motion, and we insert it so that there are not significant problems with respect to traffic flow. Nothing else is of consequence with respect to the change. And the estimated fees that will be absorbed are hardly dissimilar when you think of the other major events that go on. So there's nothing particularly extraordinary going on here, and it would seem to me our job is to attract major events that give significance and advance the image of the city of Los Angeles as the entertainment, sports, arts capital of the nation, if not the world.
I believe the Sports and Entertainment Committee really went after this, didn't they?
They went at it very, very hard, and they were successful, and we expect to be able to keep the Grammys and other events, because that's a part of what gives this city the kind of competitive edge that all of us wanted to enjoy. I so move a unanimous vote.
Okay, we have
Substitute motion 39N.
substitute motion. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 eyes.
That is approved. Let
12
the
to 1.
record show. Mrs. Wallers is a no vote. Forthwith on that. Next item.
54, special, a card was submitted.
Okay, we have a card from Mr. Shapiro.
Mr. President, 57th forthwith, we already voted on it unanimously.
57 forthwith. No objections. 57, we continued that, didn't we? No, that was... Huh? Okay. Okay, Mr. Shapiro.
Mr. President, item 44...
No, 54.
Item 54, excuse me. Item 54 concerns the fact that the local community redevelopment agency, CRA, is facing a $40 million shortfall over the next 5 years. Well, all I can say, basically, is it's good that they realize they're facing a shortfall. They've been facing a shortfall since they were formed 47 years ago. And they're facing the shortfall with this bloated bureaucracy that they have of over 200 people to manage projects which are basically completed, is due for an overhaul. Now, I know that most people here don't realize that the $750 million that was spent downtown is costing the city of L.A. $10 million every year.
How are you doing?
And they may not realize that every time the CRA comes into the picture for $12 million on the sports arena downtown, the second sports arena, that they are getting this $12 million out of future property taxes. We know it happened in Hollywood when $90 million was appropriated by the CRA to build a parking structure. And this money will come out of future property taxes. If everybody's going to worry, if you don't worry about why you're giving away all these future taxes, then you're not performing your function as the city council. I say that when they're facing the shortage of $2.5 million, when they're facing a $40 million shortfall next 5 years, I think it's less than that, but whatever it is, it's time for them to tighten their belt. They've been living high on the hog for the past 47 years, and it's time that they tighten their belt and make sure that the people they need are really need to have something to do instead of fiddling with each other. The CRA has got uses in assembling plots. That's what you're using them for in the sports arena, so you have parking lots available without too much hassle. But the point is, the citizens and the city council have to be responsible for giving this money away for future property taxes. They gave away the CRA, the way they operate. John Tewitt got $1.7 million to be retired 1 year ahead of time. That's the way they operate. And that's still on their record, and still nobody said that they were sorry. I would say the time is, yes, I back Rudy Savornich's motion on this. Let them come in here and explain to them, or explain before the committee first, what's really happening and what you're going to do to make sure that this waste of taxpayers' money doesn't continue. It's got to be stopped, and now's as good a time as ever.
Mr. Shapiro, you know we made a lot of changes in the ordinance dealing with the CRA after that. We had nothing to do with that big payoff for the Tewitt.
I'm glad you didn't pay to it, but you gave away $750 million downtown.
Okay. Okay, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion on this item? 54. Seeing none, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 eyes.
That is approved. Next item.
Mr. President, I'd like to move reconsideration of item 48 for an amendment, please.
48?
48.
All right, is there any objection to reconsideration of 48? Seeing none, that matter is before us. Mrs. Walters,
At the request of the city attorney, I'd like to amend it to include the finding that this park will serve a public purpose. And I'd move the amendment.
okay, you heard that amendment? Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll on the report as amended.
Yes.
Tabulate the vote.
13 eyes.
That is approved.
Mr. President, on item 48, I should point out that the city attorney still has to have enough time to prepare the ordinance. I don't have the ordinances yet, but
On what?
on this item 48, Ms. Walters is asking that the ordinance be presented
Yeah.
today. It'll be presented when they give it to our office to put back
Do
on
you
the
have
agenda.
any idea when it's going to be done?
It's difficult to predict. Ms. Claudia McGee-Henry indicated that she needed to have some findings on the record. I don't know if Ms. Walters' statement that it'll serve a public purpose or city purpose is going to suffice. That's Ms. McGee-Henry's call.
Okay, well, we'll send this forthwith so you'll
Well,
have
it's
it.
being built as a neighborhood park for all of the city, and it was in the Prop K financing, so what more needs to be done to determine it a public park?
Well, I understand that, but it's up to Ms. McGee-Henry to determine whether or not that satisfies the legal requirements for such a
Mrs.
waiver.
Walters will discuss it with Mrs. McGee and explain it to her. Okay, the next item.
This is a time for comments from the public on non-agenda items.
Okay, John Rotelli.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's Johnny Rotella. Thank you. I'm here this morning to have this body, they say if you want something done right, go to the right people, and I hope I'm coming to the right people. And this affects all the districts of the city, and it concerns the street maintenance department. Now, when they go out and do a project and pave a certain area of the city, it's foolish to just pave one street and leave the rest alone. They come back another year later. It's a cost of money that is ridiculously lost. And where I live in the 5th District, now this goes beyond my district, goes all over. Where I live, they just paved Kittredge Street. I'm in the 5th District. From Woodman to Fulton. My street is Allott, 1 block long, 1 block perpendicular. And it was refused, it's next year. And these wishes that I, on behalf of my fellow people in the area, since last year, we're writing letters with the councilman, the supervisor, the mayor, anybody possibly that would get involved to pave this area. So they do the one area by the school, they do Buffalo Avenue, but they leave us alone. They said, oh, you'll get that next time. Now, I think it stinks, and you people should do something about it, and I'm sure it happens all over the city. If they're going to pave a certain area, do the complete thing and do it right. Now, my street hasn't been paved in over 30 years. It's not a recent thing, and it keeps our values up. And I would appreciate somebody in this council to look into this and correct it. Thank you very much, sir. Happy New Year to all of you.
Thank you. Same to you. Mr. Shapiro.
Yes, I forgot after your long holiday, Happy New Year. And I hope this new year in 1999 is a heck of a lot better than it was in 1998. I want to talk about this Charter Reform Commission, the two of them. Why they're getting ready to present something for the public to vote on and for you to make a decision on by June of 1999. That's right now, coming up 6 months. I have been to many of their meetings, several dozen, and I feel that they are not facing up to the problems that the public has posed to them. The public has posed these problems in many ways. For example, the public is not interested in raising the city council from 15 members to 21, to 25, to 51. What they are interested in is, if they want to discuss it, what is the salary going to be of the new city council people? But it's not being discussed. Nobody mentions it on the Charter Reform Commissions. They are not worried, the public is not worried about whether the mayor has the right to fire department heads with or without the approval of the city council. They are not worried about setting up a finance department. They are not worried about breaking up the Auditor Controller's Department into two pieces or breaking up the City Attorney's Office into two pieces. What they are involved in is getting a responsive government. A responsive government. What does a responsive government mean? A responsive government means, for just one example, that somebody makes an ordinance or puts it into the charter that the City Council has to meet in every member's district at least one day in a year. Now, they were told this, and they didn't dispute it. They didn't rebut it. All they did was ignore it. They were told that most of the governments in this county have meetings at night. They ignored that. The City Council ignored that. You could do it in the form of an ordinance, but it's ignored. You don't have it. You don't make it sure. They were also requested to have an open-door policy that one day in a month, every elected official says that on the 1st of the month or the 10th of the month or the 15th, his office will be open to anybody from the public who wants to speak to him. Tom Bradley did this. Mayor Sam Yorty did this. Why can't the Charter Reform Commission put it into the charter? If they don't, why can't the City Council mandate this with an ordinance? But everybody doesn't refute it. They don't say one word to me that this is necessary. If you want to get responsive government, you got to get government that the public can easily speak to. You got to get the public where they can see you at these district meetings and at these night meetings if they work for a living.
Okay,
but
thank you,
this
Mr.
whole
Shapiro.
item is being forgotten. And I say it's not time to forget
thank you,
something
Mr.
as important as that. We need responsive government.
Liz Hatter.
2 minutes he gave me instead of 3.
Good morning, everyone. All I ask, again, is the complete attention of everyone here. I'm talking about my life, and it's critical to me. I first want to address the issue of my pension. My life has been destroyed for the past 16 years when I started to speak out against racism, sexism, every type of person that was not a good old white male. I started to get very, very valuable and very well known among the staff and command. This is, of my 16 years, this is 10 years ago. I can give you examples that would horrify you of death threats, retaliation. I mean, I cannot tell you right here. It would take too long. All I ever did was try to fight the good old boys, if you will. I'm not here to try to polarize men and women. That's not what I'm about. But my life has been destroyed. I want to ask this council for a resolution, for any help it can give me, for a gracious, graceful retirement, which I work hard to get. I love this job. I never wanted it to be like this. But when I heard misconduct, and male and female, again, I don't want to polarize here, I stood up. And I would challenge you, Captain Commander, and I got destroyed in the process. And I'll tell you one thing, I eat by panhandling 3 nights a week at the markets. Okay? I've been so jacked around by this city, I deserve a service-related pension. And I realize the 14-count civil rights lawsuit I have in Judge Spencer Letz's court is not an appropriate venue here. I'm aware of that. But you don't see me at night when the doors are closed. Everybody goes, well, you look so normal. Yeah, I do, but you don't see me when the doors are closed and the demons of the night come in, and the hysteria and the terror and everything else starts. I don't deserve this. I didn't deserve to be driven out by fighting for the little guy, as silly as that sounds. I will challenge anybody on anything at any time. And I deserve better than this, and I stand up here ready to burst into tears now because I love this job. I did an outstanding job. Every rating report I had was outstanding, full of commendations, Secret Service on down.
What do we have left?
And this is very sad for me to stand here. I'm trying to keep it in control here. I'm begging your help. You don't want me here. You, the embodiment of the city, you don't want me. I'm an outstanding officer, but I'm not going to take I'm not going to take outing of people, racial, sexual, and it's, again, I'm sick of the word sexual harassment. Let's please start calling this what it is. It's misogyny. It's gender bias. anybody's heard that says, "Hey babe," which made a fool of me last year with the Commander McBride thing. Internal Affairs never investigated 12 years of death threats on the phone. I'm going to get set up in the projects. My life was hell for a decade, and it was good for the prior 6. And when I say I have been destroyed, you live in the ghetto I live in now, facing repossession of your car with a 3-day notice tacked on my door the other day. Live my life. Or whoever, Alice Cooper says, welcome to my nightmare.
All right.
And is it possible to get the minute back that I lost last week? By
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I didn't. I want to make an announcement about the Inspector General's spot. All these ad hoc committees that we keep seeing year after year, month after month, you know what they are? They're all the same issues scrambled up under different pretty names. When are the people going to get the picture? You should be asking Mr. Hahn how many multi-millions of dollars he is spending of taxpayers' monies, which you represent, and to pay for these lucrative lawsuits and to keep walking civil liabilities on the job. And people like me who are educated, have guts, and I have stamina, they drive people like me out. I don't belong to be out. I worked hard 16 years ago running those hills. I worked hard as a single parent, and I'm sad. I don't know what else to say. I appeal to anybody I can. Please help me go gracefully. You don't want me here. I want to be here, but I deserve. And like I said, you have no clue. I'm sorry to be skipping around here, segueing into this. You don't see when I said the terror of the night and the hysterias and the calling of the doctors at 3 in the morning, because I have been destroyed.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hatter.
Was anyone going to?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. I appreciate the extra time.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, the public comment period is clover. Next item.
Motions for posting and referral.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote.
Excuses on the desk, Mr. President. Councilmember Galanter has requested to be excused. January 8th, that's Friday, and January 13th, city business. Both dates meet council policy.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote.
Councilmember Chick has requested to be excused Friday, January the 22nd, city business, meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Fuhrer has requested to be excused to leave at noon on Friday, January the 29th, city business, meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Sabornias has requested to be excused January 6th, January 15th, January 29th, city business, arriving on the 15th at 11:30, and January 8th, personal business. All dates meet council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Goldberg has requested to be excused from today's meeting, Wednesday's meeting, and possibly Friday's meeting due to illness. Meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Burnson has requested to be excused from Friday's meeting, city business. I need a motion from the floor.
All right, Mr. Fuhrer moves, unanimous vote.
The desk is clear, Mr. President.
Okay, we have adjourning motions. Would everyone please stand? Members of the council, I would ask we adjourn in memory of Leon Bluestone, who passed away. He is a past president of the LA Convention and Exhibition Center. He's survived by his wife, Judith, and a son, John. I'd also ask that we adjourn in memory of Ken Spiker's wife.
I want to be a co-presenter on that, John.
June Spiker.
John?
All members.
I want to be a co-presenter on that one, please.
Fine. She leaves husband Ken, former CLA here in the city of Los Angeles, and 5 children. Mr. Burnson?
Yeah, I just want to add, very sad because Beverly Spiker was a very gracious lady and an asset to the city of Los Angeles alongside of her husband, Ken, when he was our chief legislative analyst, which some of the members here do remember. Also a dear friend. She's also survived by not only children, but 3 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren, and 1 grand and 1 great-grand on the way. So all of us, I think, like to do that. Also, I'd like to adjourn in memory of Milner Wolf, who's survived by his daughter, Trudy Feldman of Northridge, and also Sherry Sherman, a granddaughter of North Hills.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd ask that we all adjourn in memory of Oscar Iron Eyes Cody, who was a very famous Native American actor who was particularly significant to many of us because of his appearance in the Keep America Beautiful ads. I recall he was the Native American with the tear rolling down his cheek in response to seeing the spoliation of our environment. And I think he left an indelible mark on all of us in the country and really advanced the cause of environmentalism here by that portrayal. In addition, of course, he had a very distinguished career as an actor for decades here in Hollywood.
Right.
And also, Mr. Alatorre, if I could, I'd like to adjourn in memory of Marika Bronson. She died very suddenly on December 20th at the very young age of 35. She was a neighbor of mine and survived by her husband, Brad, their 3 daughters, Nicole, Brittany, and Mia. She was very active, not only as the homemaker in her household, but also at Temple Emmanuel in Beverly Hills. She will be missed by many people in the community.
Anybody else? Mr. Hernandez.
Just wanted to add, I'd like to be a co-presenter in regards to Iron Eyes Cody. He was extremely involved with the Southwest Museum and the Northeast community in Highland Park, and on several occasions he served as a Grand Marshal for the local community parade. He was someone who was seen at internationally, I think, because of that commercial, but at the same time did a lot of films, but was very much involved in local community projects that affected Native Americans.
Mr. Holden.
All right, Mr. President, I'd just like to add about Mrs. Spiker. It was a great family. I got to know them only after I was elected here, and you can tell by how good the family is because of the children that they have and how well they're doing for each and every one of us from time to time in our communities. And so certainly they're going to be missing. Our sympathy and prayers go out to the entire family. I'd like to, Mr. President, in addition to adjourn in memory of a very dear friend of mine I've known for close to 40 years, Shirley Silverstein. She was an active member of the Alta Loma Democratic Club. She was active in the California Democratic Council. Until a very dying day, she was making telephone calls in the past gubernatorial election, asking people to get out to vote. And they just don't make them like Shirley anymore. Those people are just once in a lifetime. And Shirley, wherever you are, we miss you, and we won't ever forget you.
It's very nice. Mr. Mark Ridley Thomas.
Mr. President, members of the council, at the request of Deputy Chief Jad Davis, I ask that we adjourn in memory of Lieutenant Victor Guzman. Lieutenant Guzman was appointed to the Los Angeles Police Department in October of 1968. Throughout his 30-year career with the department, he worked in a variety of assignments. He's noted as being truly dedicated to the department and the communities that he served. He's survived by his wife, Sharon, and his sons, Don, Joy, and Vinny. I request that we adjourn in memory of this dedicated city employee.
Yes, Mr. Wax.
Unfortunately, I have several. And first, I too want to join with Mr. Burns and Mr. Ferraro on Beverly Spiker, who really was a wonderful human being, a really classy lady. Another person who has been involved with the council for all the years that I've been here, past history, Hal Barron, an attorney in the Valley, who is long involved both in the legal profession and in governmental and civic affairs, and a terrific guy, and he is going to be sorely missed. Another person who'd been involved in the Valley when I first got there that many people remember, Arthur Wong, who used to have the Far East Terrace, the restaurateur, really a legendary restaurateur in the San Fernando Valley, and president of the Chamber of Commerce there, and one of the people that was involved when we first started the North Hollywood redevelopment plan and pushing to get a red line station in North Hollywood. Arthur was one of the people that was involved in that from the beginning. Dorothy Blankford, who is one of the great patrons of the arts and certainly the visual arts, and a generous donor, particularly to the County Museum of Art in Los Angeles. And she will be missed by many. And Mark Chatfield, who I knew as both a singer who formed Musica Angelica and was very involved in music in the city, but in his other life he also set a record at the Olympic Games as a swimmer, and had a remarkable but short career of 45 years. And then my friend Santi Delmano, who is the husband of my friend B. Delmano, and I'll give the clerk the pertinent information on all of these.
Call the roll. Aye, the council is adjourned. Don't